Good evening from the Lou and Mike Show. We're on the road again in Sedona, Arizona, to the home of John and Carol McDougald. It's mid-December 2013, coming up on Christmas, and we've had the wonderful opportunity to visit with John and Carol, and they're back in the study right now. Let's go visit.
Pinhole, it says found at the base of the pole at the corner of da-da and da-da in Burbank, California.
Oh my gosh.
Okay? And I still have it sitting in a little box on my desk. He had his index book that was the same thing that was in the pinhole was written on cards.
Wow.
CD order number.
Alphabetical. That was our database.
Cross-referencing.
Those were our databases back then.
How big a collection?
How big was Selby's collection overall? 500 or so pieces?
About a fourth of his attic in 100-degree weather. Yeah, a good 500.
Yeah. But these 3 or 4 or 5 pieces, and that was it.
Wow.
The rest was all just, in fact, a bunch of the pieces, we gave to thrift stores, and we gave them for kids' packages.
Oh, good. Good, good.
I mean, it all went to good places, but it was like, whoa. And I have an autographed to him, Mulholland hardbound.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that's neat.
So I was looking in a box the other day that I was going to move, and you start by, it's like, okay, I got to sit down and read this. All of the original drip plates,
Oh,
first issue,
Oh.
up until 8 point,
wow.
and it was like, I've been searching for that kind of. Nobody keeps that because it was just paper,
Sure.
But he kept them all.
That's cool.
He kept all of it.
Very neat.
So yeah, I was pleased with that, and so that we'll get that all archived one of these days. It's wonderful. Yeah. Well, I thought it was really interesting. But I never would have thought to take the time to write this little thing. CD 102, XYZ Antique Shop. 1974. Mulholland's number. $2.50. And on and on. And write it like 3 times
Yeah, wow.
to index it again, and then put it in the pinhole too.
When we bought Frank Miller's collection, he had a sticker on everyone, had all that
Yeah.
information on it.
This is
Just
all
crazy.
all typed. Each one. It had to take hours and hours to do.
Wow.
On the specific piece, the Selby, the 2-piece cowl that we've identified that's in a unique color. We looked up the note on that one. Apparently he received a phone call in the middle of the afternoon from one of his lineman buddies who were doing some work on a corner, and he gives the exact geographic corner in LA and said they called me, told me to come down here. They were digging for a new pole, and this thing had come out of the ground.
Wow. That's incredible. Incredible.
Have some other Cal experts looked at this thing?
Oh yeah, with droolingly.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Denny's
Wow.
looked at it. Collins
Hacksaw
looked at it.
Collins looked at it.
Okay.
Brought some other pieces to compare to make sure that the color was, realistically, it's very yellow with peach undertones.
Wow.
And remember that there are 4 pieces. There's a top and a bottom, and another top and a half a bottom with a C on it.
Same color.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Wow.
All the same color.
So whoever buys the top will be able to match it to an existing bottom somewhere in the hobby, probably. They're floating around. There's a yellow bottom out there, at least one according to Brent Berger and a couple other people. Brent and Bill. So it should be very fun, whatever happens.
Yeah, it's
Do you want the doors open? Is that better?
I'm not worried about it. We're not engineering here. We're just having fun.
Okay.
Let's not worry about it.
All right. Well, they are open.
They are.
That's very
And it is an absolutely spectacular display. Look at that.
I like your Cobalt EC&M. I have one.
Do you?
Mine's cracked right down the middle, and the guy glued it back together when he found it.
Wow.
And it's the first collection I ever bought.
Oh.
I was brand new at the hobby. I was looking in the newspaper in the classifieds and under antiques and such. This guy's got insulator collection for sale and a phone number. And he was, 50 miles away. And so I called him up and he said, yeah, they're here. And I said, would like to come up and take a look. He said Saturday would work. And so we went up and looked. And I was overwhelmed. I mean, there was 100 pieces of glass. And it was like, oh man. I said, how much do you want for this? He said, I'm asking $300. This was in 1970. And his wife was having a baby, and he said, I need to pay the doctor, and I need $300.
That black glass is dark purple.
And I said, okay, I'm willing to do that, but I don't have a vehicle to transport this. I said, can we come back Saturday?
And this is one of Carol's dumpster diving
Next
pieces from
Saturday,
Palma,
my
Mallorca.
I went back with my dad's truck. We packed it all up, and the guy said, oh, by the way, the glass case has got to go with it. And it wasn't fancy, but it was a case.
Fabulous.
And he said, oh, by the way, he said, with the new baby coming, I got to get rid of all of this barbed wire. And he slides out from under the bed a coil of barbed wire, ribbon wire, flat with crimped on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Not spectacular, but there were 3 bolt-on mechanical splices in this. So I cut it all apart in 18-inch loops.
Yeah, sure.
I sold that spool of wire in 18-inch pieces for $300.
Hey, John,
And I
Yes,
still
sir.
have
would you turn this
all
piece
of it.
for me, please, this Chester, so we can look at the other side?
Sure.
It still says.
What's left of SoExco.
Oh,
So
the
Exco
real
on the
thing
back
about
of a,
the Cobalt
my
ladies, it was
goodness.
not in the
and that was a gift from a gentleman
in a
in,
week's time.
Rock Springs, Wyoming.
When we made the thing, he was
very nice.
He was a worker
Wow.
for the Cal Fire, and whatever he did, he drove a bucket truck, and his territory was down near Porterville, and he was out driving around, and he.
And there's another piece from
piece
Carol's
on the
dumpster
wall.
diving in Palma, Mallorca.
It came apart in his hands. It was split, free split. He brought it back, glued it together, and he said, "You might as well have that. That goes in the collection too."
Oh, wow.
So it was 101 pieces,
For $300 and a spool
and the wire, and the display case, the whole thing.
We always end up on our knees before a case of good stuff, don't we? It's the insulated
Yeah, that's
collectors.
it.
I should have a picture of the picture taker.
Right.
My $300 purchase story comes from
What a
Hershey
breathtaking.
National.
Okay.
Carol and I was the first national we've been to, and
We had
We-
17 bell chambers that we had purchased from a lady in Ohio.
Oh my goodness.
Candlesticks.
we had
Candlesticks, not
candlesticks in Bill.
bells, candlesticks.
Okay.
And we bought about this much of a table rented it from Jack Snyder. And we were kind of looking around because we didn't have a lot to sell. And
Beautiful snow cone.
do you remember who Merwin Valentine was?
No,
From Nebraska.
I don't recognize that.
He was at a nice table full of miscellaneous stuff. And well, we thought it would really be neat if we could buy a table of sales glass and resell it. So we went over to his, and he had a lot of nice stuff, $10, $15 stuff, and good color. And I said, Merwin, you'd be interested in selling your table, what's left on your table? He said, yeah. And I said, well, how much do you want for it? He said, $325. And I went through and I thought, gosh, I'd be able to make at least $500 on this.
Right.
I thought, oh, this is really good. So we agreed on it. And he said, "Oh, by the way," he said, "I've got a couple other boxes of insulators out in the truck. I'll just throw them in." I said, "Oh, that'd be great." So I go out to the truck. He's got 2 boxes, 12 insulators each, dead mint amber signals. You know, and back in those days,
10 or 12.
they were selling for about $15 a piece.
Yeah, but that still was adding up.
24 insulators
Yeah.
times $15. I thought,
Yeah.
wow, I'm just striking rich.
Gold mine.
Yeah, boy. So
That's cool.
yeah,
Those are always cool stories. Good
gosh,
things.
that's 40 years ago almost.
Man, time goes by, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
The purple 126 Brookfield is right out of Arizona. It's an Arizona find.
Picked
Picked.
Really?
Here in Arizona.
in the 20s.
In the 1920s.
In the 1920s.
My goodness. Do you remember the name associated with the picking?
Schlosser.
Slosser.
Was it
Slosser.
E.C. Schlosser?
E.C.
Used to
Slosser. Prescott,
lived
Arizona.
down in Prescott, and he and his dad worked for a railroad, and he was responsible for signals or something all over the state of Arizona, and he went on to the some Indian reservation up north of here, and that, you know, the line was abandoned, that piece was
just laying
up
out
there, just laying out there, and he went up and got, you know, in the 20s, who knew what an insulator was?
Right. Just it was a thing. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
something to get your attention.
Yeah. Didn't he just pass away? And he was
102.
102.
Oh my goodness.
And he was a neat guy. We went down to see him the first time, and he was walking. I mean, he was walking around like a 20-year-old kid, except he had oxygen. Didn't he? The first time we saw him, and he looked. I would have said 65.
Wow.
And he said, "Do you have any idea how old I am?" I said, "I don't know." He says, "I'm 90."
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
oh my gracious.
And justifiably proud of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. He wasn't he?
Sounds like a friend of mine.
Elementary
He
school
was a
principal
principal in Prescott.
in Prescott. Yeah.
We have a cabin up at Huntington Lake at 7,000.
Oh, yeah.
And our neighbor, he and his family have lived there mostly year round for years. And he's finally major retired. He worked for the post office, and he retired as postmaster, and his wife took the job, and she finally retired. And so they were up there. They raised 6 girls at Huntington Lake, and it's a long story. Anyway, the point being is, we go up there several times during the summer when we can, and they stay up there all summer. And summer, he says, "Oh, you ready to go for a hike? Where are you going this year?" He said, "Well, the first year that he did this, he says, I want to hike to College Rock. So you want to go along?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." I said, I had back surgery about 8 months prior. I said, "You know, as long as we go slow." He says, "Oh, it'll take us like 4 hours to go up there and about 2.5 to come down." I said, No.
That ain't happening.
Equal up, equal down, you know, at least. And anyway, we did that trip. And then the next year, he said, "Well, since you did that, which almost killed me," he said, I want to go over to LaSalle Rock and climb that one, and about equal height. The first one was from 7,000 feet to 9,500 feet in 3 miles. It's
Whoa.
right up the hill.
That is straight up.
It's almost straight up the
Yeah.
hill, and it just about killed me. Well, the next year it was LaSalle Rock, and then the next year he and I climbed another point. Anyway, the point of this is every year he has a mountain top in the area that he wants
I'll
to
show you one here.
get to the crest of, just because. He's 96.
Someone wrote to us
You know,
and said,
I
"This
said,
is
you can't be
piece
doing
I
that."
found in
I said, the last one, I
Missouri?
said,
And he said,
You're gonna go to that.
it's amber. And
He
we
said,
said,
yeah.
oh,
I want you to
amber?
listen.
You know,
I said,
I don't think they have
I
any
will
amber
hike
in
as
that
far as the
134
Jeep-
patent December
Jeep
with
will
drip
take
pumps.
me.
But I bet it's been nuked. And he
And
said,
that's
oh, I'll send it
exactly
to
what I
you.
did.
And then if you
We
think
drove
you
as
like it,
far
you
in
want to
there,
buy it,
four-wheel beep
make me an
into the
offer.
Countryside.
When the
that
piece
was still
came,
about 3 miles.
it was
two-
not
2.5,
nuked.
3 miles to go.
It
from the
was
Jeep Trail
orange
on up
amber.
to the top.
Man.
And I said, holy shit.
I'm done. I'm here. I'll be happy
There
to
you go.
haul you out of here.
There you go.
Drip
There's
points
a guy here in town. I have friends who are
found on the ground,
bikers,
not on a
and
pole.
they've kind of been-
Unbelievable. What a spectacular
There's a guy
screaming
here in town
glower that is.
At least
My
up
goodness.
to a year or so ago.
And it's the same color as the
82 years old.
amber
Last time I heard.
7.
Does a rim
Same color.
to a
It's
rim.
actually brighter than the peacock signal it's sitting next to.
And
Beautiful.
His objective is to finish it in 24 hours.
But you can
Now
definitely
that's-
tell they're
that's-
Hemingway
That's
product.
5,500
Same as the
feet
HGCO,
down, 6,500 feet up, 5,500
164
feet down,
signal.
or 6,500 feet down, 5,500 feet
Yeah.
up.
That's,
Beautiful green American.
see, I'd be happy staying
Isn't
at
it?
0, which is,
And then
why do all of that when you're going to end up
Equally
right here anyway?
beautiful green Brookfield.
That's a Brookfield.
I've been down once.
That one went
That's
to
all I
Springfield
do.
this last year for the
I
Brookfield.
went down to the-
And the HG just right in there with that killer green. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Carol.
No, you're welcome.
You interested in going? I said, I'd love to.
Sure.
And it was about 6 or 7 years ago. I thought, oh,
It's nice.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so I went, and
Yeah.
it's
look,
off my bucket list now.
right. There's once in a lifetime things. Once done,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
I-
Don't need to go there.
I'd go back to, if my grandkids were interested in going down, I'd probably do it. But other than that, you couldn't drag me back down there.
Yeah.
I found a place where you can drive down to the Colorado.
There you
Rivers.
go. See, that's right. We got to doing that out on the.
In fact, there. So you can see that picture on the wall. That's
Oh,
me
yeah.
coming across the bridge over across the Colorado at the bottom of the.
Made it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. The guy I was hiking with took that picture.
That's neat. Well,
Anyway,
all these things are dueling.
Yeah.
Dueling things keeps you going.
she told you one story about an insulator. I'll tell you one story about an insulator.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
This guy right here. I saw you take a picture of the base. Cheryl and I are sitting at home.
What is it, John? Which one is that?
This would be an Emmingers.
Ah,
And we're sitting at home and we get a letter in the mail. And inside the letter is a picture of an Emmingers taken by a Polaroid camera from about 150 feet.
This little green blob.
It's sitting on a table, and honest to gosh, in the Polaroid, the insulator's about that big. Only he was very careful to write down the embossing on the base.
Oh, okay, good.
And I said, ooh, and basically it was a letter that says, I'd be interested in selling this piece. No name I'd ever heard before in my entire life. So I wrote the guy back. And from day one, Kevin Lawless and I used to just love playing practical jokes on each other. And, here's a picture that looked like it had been taken 25 years before, and I thought,
Okay.
this is, Lawless has gotten somebody to do this.
Oh, they've set you up.
set me up on this. So I wrote him back just like, this is a perfectly
Yeah,
legitimate
straight
deal,
up,
and I
yeah.
said, it's a good insulator. I said, would you be interested? And I said, I'd either be willing to buy it from you or see if I can find somebody who would like to purchase it. And so we are almost ready to go to the Williamsburg National, and we're living in Chicago at the time.
hey, that was the one I co-hosted.
There you go. And
Except he got shipped out and wasn't
yeah,
there.
right. and so this guy is in Indiana, about 20 miles south of Gary, Indiana, right off the 80. And so I thought, we'll just stop.
Sure.
So I said, where can we meet you? He said, well, I work for Sunny Delight.
Okay.
I said, oh, really? I said, what do you do for Sunny Delight? He says, I'm the guy that goes in and mixes the batch. I pour the stuff in, and the story is just going completely nuts. I said, this is a total joke. He says, meet me at the plant. So Carol and I arranged to meet this guy, and he comes out with his white coat and white hat and everything. He's just finished mixing a batch, and he's got a coffee can with a plastic lid on it. And we're standing in the middle of the parking lot. And I said, maybe it'd be better if we walk over here on the grass in case something happened. And he pulled this thing out, and I thought I was going to have to change my drawers when he pulled this thing out. I had in my pocket a letter that I had written that basically said, to whom it may concern, I knew this was going to be a practical joke, and so I decided to write this letter ahead of time so you know that you didn't put anything over on me. Ha ha, Kevin Wallace. And I couldn't stick that thing back in my pocket any faster. And I took it to the National, and shopped it around, see if anybody wanted to buy it. I ended up buying it myself from the guy, and he was so tickled.
Sure. First time this has ever happened. Only time.
By the way, he bought this for $3 at a flea market in Gary, Indiana, and we settled on a price, and I sent him a check. And about a week later in the mail, we get a letter from him with $50 worth of coupons for
Olive Garden.
the Olive Garden. He said, I was so excited to sell that insulator. He said, I just didn't feel like it was fair, so I needed to send you something else.
So it's a little extra return on your dollar.
And it was, I paid him a fair price. It wasn't like I got it for a couple $100, but he back in those days, they were getting, 10 or 12 grand for him, so he got a fair price on it. But
well, the dessert is ready.
That's the story of the
dessert.
Great. Thank you, John.
It's amazing. I wish there was just enough time to go to every flea market and every yard sale and all of that. And over the years, I've heard these stories. I hear them.
Oh yeah, I wish I kept track of them.
Now I've got to chase them across the house. And what a wonderful home they have. I'm trying to capture a little bit of the spectacular
By the way,
decor.
did you know that this was sheet music?
I guessed only because of the hint that you gave me last time I visited. But tell us a little bit about some of these, John.
These are all from between 1919 and 1922, and these are all by an artist named Rolf Armstrong. And one of the first pieces of sheet music I bought was this piece right here. And frankly, I fell in love with this woman. And Carol said the only way you're going to be able to have another woman in the house is if you hang her on the wall. But I was so taken with his ability to capture the beauty of a woman's face.
Absolutely.
That I started looking for sheet music that he had done. And talk about a guy who must have had a great life. He had a 60-year career as an artist, basically painting nude women. And I thought, not bad.
Not at all.
Doesn't he catch the
He does.
expression of a woman's face? I just really think he does a marvelous job.
No doubt. Being ex-Navy for 24 years, I have a special affinity for the waves.
I totally understand that.
Oh, man. You're right. He has a way.
Yeah.
My goodness. The camera doesn't do her justice. It really doesn't.
No, but it's not bad. And this was just basically throwaway art on the cover of pieces of sheet music. That's classic Flapper, isn't it?
Absolutely. Roaring 20s,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
She looks like she could have starred in a movie with Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, I think so.
You
Got
know?
a little Carmenella.
Uh-huh. Very nice.
Yeah. We have one other wall of sheet music. I don't know if you saw it.
I'm sure I did, but
If you want
I would appreciate a guided tour more than you know. Oh, we may have started in this alcove. I'm not sure if I did. I can't remember.
This is all art by a gentleman named E.T. Paul. And this is all piano music. It's not, not singable stuff.
And what's the difference between sheet music and piano music?
It's the same. It's just
Okay.
that there are no lyrics.
I see.
And but the thing that impressed me about this guy as an artist was the detail of the work. Again, just throwaway art on the cover of sheet music. And, here you got 1,000 soldiers walking across the battlefield. It's really phenomenal stuff. And every one of his pieces is just so intricate and detailed. This is all from roughly 1906 to 1910.
What got you interested in sheet music, John?
Well, I'm a barbershop singer.
Absolutely.
I'm a 57-year member of the Barbershop Harmony Society.
Oh my goodness.
Only thing I've done longer than collecting insulators. And I started picking up sheet music of songs that I had sung. And as we know it, collecting one thing leads to another.
Absolutely. It's a disease for sure.
Now I'm sitting on about 40,000 pieces of sheet music.
Oh my goodness. Who do you rub shoulders with in that hobby?
Nobody. I'm a closet collector.
Well, perhaps that won't be the case once this video goes. Do we need to keep this a secret, John?
No. I would say I got 90% of my music from one paper dealer up in New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
And he would sell me 3,000 to 5,000 pieces at a crack, and the price was so good I couldn't turn them down.
Wow. Well, very nice.
Yeah, I've had so much fun with it.
Well, thank you for taking the time.
You're welcome. Thank you for looking.